Thank you so much for taking time to be part of this afternoon's event. Welcome to the Citizens Constitutional Forum. My name is Sylvester Udole. I'm the communications officer here, and with me this afternoon, sitting at the table, beside me is Lucia Langlebu, our program manager, and next to her on our left is our research officer, Willis Landolo. This event has been called, and thank you so much for taking time in your busy schedule to be part of this event, which has been organized to put a spotlight on the recent results of the Open Budget Survey that was done in partnership with International Business Budget Partnership and CCF, in collating the results for 2021 for the Fiji results. And with any survey, there's a lot of information that you need to absorb. Of course, you'll hear a bit from the speakers on the desk this afternoon. But at the back of the room, there's a table that has ample information that you can absorb as well in your own time, which also includes a press release from the International Budget Partnership and, of course, from CCF as well. Now, without taking up more of the time this afternoon, I'll pass it on to our program manager, Lucia Langlebu, who will present a statement from CCF. Maka?
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. The International Budget Partnership, IBP, in collaboration with the Citizens Constitutional Forum, has released the latest Open Budget Survey 2021 results for Fiji. The survey found that most countries preserved accountable spending practices in their annual budget processes during the pandemic. CCF has been part of this research since 2008 through monitoring hard copies of the budget books released by the then Ministry of Finance, and then through monitoring of government websites on the availability of budget documents. We are involved in this work as CCF because budgets are linked to human rights development. The national budget is an essential policy instrument of government through which it can deliver its promises to the people. In the latest OBS 2021, Fiji scored 37 out of 100 in the area of transparency, 17 out of 100 in public participation, and 28 out of 100 in budget oversight. Fiji has fallen by 2 points in transparency from the last score in 2019. A transparency score of 61 or above indicates a country is likely publishing enough material to support informed public debate on the budget. Fiji ranks 79 out of 120 countries. To improve on budget transparency, Fiji should publish the pre-budget statement and in-year reports online in a timely manner, produce and publish the citizens' budget, media review, and year-end report online in a timely manner, and improve the comprehensiveness of the audit report and enacted budget. Fiji's Ministry of Economy has established pre-budget deliberations during budget formulation, but to further strengthen public participation in the budget process, should also prioritize piloting mechanisms to monitor budget implementation and sustain direct engagement with vulnerable and underrepresented communities during pre-budget deliberations. The Fiji Parliament should prioritize allowing any member of the public or civil society organization to testify during its hearings on the budget proposal prior to its approval, and allow members of the public or civil society organizations to testify during its hearings on the audit report. Fiji's Office of the Auditor General should prioritize establishing formal mechanisms for the public to contribute to relevant audit investigations. On budget oversight, Fiji's Parliament provides weak oversight during the planning stage of the budget cycle and weak oversight during the implementation stage. To improve, the legislature should debate budget policy before the executive budget proposal is tabled and approve recommendations for the upcoming budget. The executive budget proposal should be submitted to legislators at least 2 months before the start of the budget year, and legislative committees should examine the executive budget proposals and publish reports with their analysis online. To strengthen independence and improve audit oversight by the Fiji Office of the Auditor General, they should require legislative or judicial approval to appoint and remove the head of the Supreme Audit Institution. The latest survey assessed only documents published and events, activities or developments that took place through December 31st December 2020. The survey is based on a questionnaire completed in each country by an independent budget researcher. The questionnaire was reviewed by an anonymous independent expert and in Fiji by a representative of the Ministry of Economy. The government budget decisions on what taxes to levy, what services to provide, and how much debt to take on have consequences on the people of Fiji. When the government provides information and meaningful channels for the public to engage in decisions, we can better ensure public money is spent on public interests. The CCF Research Officer, Ms. Felici Ngantolo, on my left here, she'll now take you through the IBP website so that you're able to navigate your way around additional information that's very important for this survey. So I'll give this time to you, Ms.
Thank you once again for coming. I'll just, like Lucia has mentioned, just taking you through the website for the International Budget Partnership, which we collaborate with for this survey. That's the website link up there. It's also on the press statement. You can get to, just navigating your way through learning about the work of the International Budget Partnership, and then going straight to the Open Budget Survey, where you'll get information on rankings and of course get to the Fiji country results. So the Fiji country results will show you the latest OBS scores, and for Fiji, the participation, like Lucia has already mentioned, for participation we scored 17 out of 100, for budget oversight it was 20, and for transparency it was 37. The website also gets you to compare results from the last survey, which was back in 2019. It also allows you to look at what other countries how other countries in the Asia Pacific region have scored. Before, New Zealand used to lead the pack, but now New Zealand is in second place. And first place is South Korea. Fiji has gone up to 17, above China and Papua New Guinea. Before, China used to lead Fiji. So those are just some of the participation scores. And the website also takes you to the budget oversight aspect or component of the survey. And it gives you information and recommendations as well. The oversight component measures two parts, which is on legislative oversight, looking at parliamentary processes regarding oversight, and then the audit oversight, which looks at the Supreme Audit Institution, which is the Auditor General's Office. And then it takes you to the transparency aspect, which is probably the most important aspect of this survey. The transparency aspect measures 8 key budget documents. So during the survey process, we were looking at the availability of these key budget documents. The key budget documents are the pre-budget statement, the executive budget proposal, is also the enacted budget, the citizens' budget, in-year reports, media review, year-end report, and the audit report. In Fiji, as you can see there, the executive budget proposal, the enacted budget, and the audit reports have been consistent since 2019, and for the enacted budget since 2012. We haven't released a pre-budget statement since 2015. The pre-budget statement is the fiscal draft statement on fiscal draft policy that usually comes out before the executive budget proposal. So the executive budget proposal is the budget estimates and the budget supplement booklets that that we can access on the Ministry of Economy website. So those contain budget information and numbers. One thing that we've always pushed is for the citizens' budget to be published. So the citizens' budget is a less technical information book, you might say. Because taking a look at budget estimates and budget supplement booklets, the average person that you meet on the street wouldn't be able to translate for anyone what it says. So the citizens' budget is a less technical version of what information should be in a budget book. So that's the citizens' budget for you. We also have in-year reports, media review, the year-end report, and the audit report, which has always been released by the Auditor General's office. So those are the budget documents that are supposed to be available to us citizens, especially on the website that produces it by the Ministry of Economy. Those are the components of the survey, and you can find them on by accessing this website for country results for Fiji.
So thank you, Lucia, for your presentation. Of course, now on the floor, members of the press who are with us this morning, invited guests and members of fellow CSOs. Thank you for your presence. The floor is open to any questions with regards to what they presented this morning.
I just have a question. What do you think are some of the barriers to the publishing of the documents for the public?
Because of access to the internet, probably. Because this survey only measures what's available online. Before we used to read the hard copies produced by the Ministry of Finance then, but now it only measures what's available on the Ministry of Economy website. So probably all citizens wouldn't be able to access the internet, have no data or things like that. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
So anybody else would like to answer a question or ask a question? Perhaps your name, organization, question.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll just introduce myself.
Tony from Fiji Village. I'm just going back to the stats that you provided. Public availability on the citizens' budget. So it's, correct me if I'm wrong, 2010, 2012, 2015, 2017, 2019, and 2021, the citizens' budget wasn't available.
It hasn't been produced ever by Fiji.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what the survey has been trying to push for, like the survey results, findings that we've been trying to get, like just the government or any government of the day that's in power to at least publish the citizens' budget for everyone to understand what's in the booklet.
And of course, as you mentioned, that's something that would be less technical.
Yeah, less
for
technical.
the average person
Yes.
to understand.
Like if you can go to the market, at the bus stand,
Right.
something to talk about, discuss with your friends, or because if you look at the budget books now.
So what you're trying to say is that's a document that's supposed to be coming from the government side that should be readily available for the citizens, for the average person.
Yes, the government, and also like in collaboration with CSOs, CSOs that might have the capacity to work with government on producing citizens' budgets.
So your research is in collaboration with.
The International Budget Partnership.
Have you ascertained why they haven't produced these documents in your research?
No.
Just a follow up to Felice's responses. This survey we've been we've been releasing the results since 2015.
Yes, 2010.
2010, and we've always shared this, the results, the recommendations to the public, to key stakeholders, including public officials. And so if you see on the results that there has not been any action since then, the question is, why are they not taking it on? Because documents such as the citizens' budget allows everyone to participate. It allows every person on the street in the communities to understand, the information on budgets proposed. And when they do understand, they're able to participate. They're able to debate on what they may agree on and what they disagree on, based on, the experiences of the day, daily experiences. So, and that's essentially why we are advocating on these key budget documents. That makes sense.
Just a question. So, in terms of human rights for CCF, how important is it for citizens to be part of the budget process? And also in the other frame for governments to present these findings to the citizens?
I mean, for CCF, we're always advocating for accountability, transparency, good governance. So through this survey, it reflects the same key points that we advocate on as CCF. You'll see in the budget, the result documents that you have with you, that it's separated in three components: public participation, transparency, budget oversight. Overall, it's giving you an insight on how well we're doing with transparency, accountability, public participation, accountability. How are we supposed to keep the government of the day accountable if we ourselves don't understand what's in the budget documents?
It's also about the importance of consultation. Not like the government does provide avenues for consultations prior to the budget announcement and all that. You will see in the media national consultations taking place. But also the responsibility is also on citizens to attend these national budget consultations.
Any other questions from the floor?
Just one last question. You had mentioned to improve the legislature should debate budget policies before the executive budget proposal is tabled and approved recommendations for the upcoming budget. The EBP should be submitted to legislatures at least 2 months before the start of the budget year. Legislative committees should examine EBP and publish reports with their analysis online. Having said that, earlier on you stated Fiji has fallen by 2 points in transparency. Is it safe to say that this is one of the reasons why Fiji has fallen in those points?
Yes, I guess it is safe to say, but there are other factors in play as well. Why Fiji has fallen in terms of transparency. One of the reasons why that recommendation was made is practically when you look at the time frame that Fiji takes for budget proposals, publishing budget proposals, debating it in Parliament, there isn't enough time for the opposition or members of the public to fully understand, fully grasp, do their research, and then debate in Parliament on the proposed budget. So that's one of the reasons why we think transparency is an issue right now. But I guess Melissa could add on if she wants. I hope that answers your question. Not really?
Not really.
Okay.
Could you you mentioned there's other factors as well. Could you just give a little bit more details, shed some light on those other factors?
Okay, transparency. So yes, my answer to your question is yes, but like I said, partly, there are other factors in play why there's an issue with transparency. Like I said before, documents like the citizens' budget, other documents here that my colleague here, Wilisi, has spoken about, in-year reports, media reports, year-end reports, these
That are
reports
published late.
that are published later. So it doesn't give us enough time to really investigate on how approved budgets have been spent, have been implemented, how well they've been spent, whether they've been underspent. It doesn't give enough time or accessibility to any member of the public to understand, how these budgets have been spent. And if they don't have access to those information, then they can't be consulted. Sorry, let me retract that. They could be consulted, but you won't be receiving any informed responses from them because they don't understand what's in these technical books.
And many times in Parliament, things when something stable comes to a point under a certain standing order where there's it may be passed without debate, so that immediately happens. When it comes to these situations, do you feel that these procedures, these parliamentary procedures, may be a hindrance as well for that, for the opposition, as you mentioned, to look at the documents and have a discussion and deliberation amongst themselves before further?
So based on the findings that we have, we would say that current frameworks for parliaments in terms of debating would need to be reviewed so that there is enough time given to say members of opposition to do their research and respond properly to budget proposals. Because at the end of the day, when the opposition is questioning the proposed budgets, they also need to be reflecting what citizens are saying, what communities need every day. So if you're just given, say, like 2 weeks to do your research,
It's
do you
not
think?
sufficient time.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Anybody else?
Some from Integrity Fiji. It's my understanding that this survey is this is the information that is published on their website. Is there a survey where you get the perspective of the people, or maybe if you get
Like a public perception.
yeah, from a public point of view, and then also I think if maybe if there's a survey on the public point of view, then I think it would push these institutions to publish these documents, so because they will know that this is what the citizens are saying about them. So I think this is something that will push them to publish this document.
That's a good point. Just over the years, that like the methodology has always been the same for this survey. So it's just like the CCF responds to questions set up by the International Budget Partnership, and it takes like a couple of months. I think last year it took us 6 months to answer like 142 questions. So it was a back and forth process. And after those questions, it was the responses were reviewed by a peer, an anonymous peer reviewer, and then a government reviewer as well. So it was like a three-way thing that was happening. It was the questions that were related to the 8 budget documents that I've just mentioned, the questions as well on public participation. So we were monitoring the national budget consultations that were happening online. Last year, because of COVID, national budget consultations didn't take place at physical places, so it was mainly online. So I think that was a limitation as well, why Fiji fell by 2 points and Fiji didn't improve as much.
Any other questions? Going once, twice? Thank you very much for accepting our invite to be part of this press conference. Thank you again to the ladies at the table to present the statement this afternoon. Of course, at the back, as I mentioned earlier, there's ample information in terms of the survey, and again, the press statement from IPP and CCF in terms of the survey results for Fiji for 2021. There's lunch prepared as well, and if you have any further questions, in the CCF press release, there I've got my details there, phone number, an email just if you have any further questions when you go back to your stories. Good afternoon.
Thank you.